Hello. In this video, I'm going to cover what are endothelial cells or the endothelium. So, first off, I'm going to define it, and this first portion of the video will be if you want to learn what they are, and then after that, I'm going to cover how it relates to me. I'm basically dealing with a bunch of mysterious health issues and I'm trying not to die, so I am studying. So yes, what are endothelial cells? Well, I kind of put in my notes what I think to be the simplest definition that will stick in my brain. There's a lot of information. This is what sticks. So they are the barrier between vessels or blood and tissue. They are a very thin layer, about 1 cell wide, lining the inner wall of all or most vessels. So if you need a picture of that, here you go. You see that the endothelium is this inner wall here, and it provides a barrier between a vessel and the tissues surrounding the vessel. So what do they do? That's what they are, but what do they do? Well, their main function, from what I've read, they have a lot of functions, but their main function is to filter. They decide what substances, chemicals, proteins, white blood cells, whatever, let's just go with chemicals. So they decide which chemicals can travel from blood to tissue or from tissue to blood. And then endothelial cells release substances that control vascular relaxation and contraction, as well as enzymes that control blood clotting, immune function, and then also endothelial cells actively signal to white blood cells of the immune system during inflammation. So, what I pretty much remember is that they filter. They decide what can go from blood to tissue or tissue to blood. They are very active in vascular relaxation, contraction, which is really important. I still need a bit more studying to kind of fortify why that's important, but I've read a lot about vascular relaxation and contraction being important. And of course, blood clotting is important, and they have functionality in blood clotting and immune function and white blood cell function, which is related to inflammation. So yeah, that's the basics. I could probably go through Wikipedia, and with that, I think when it comes to a simple definition, I think this is good. So in regards to how this is related to me, so trying to figure out this health issue, there's a myriad of there's just multiple health issues, all kinds of things. Like I could write a book on all the pains and weird health issues I've had the past few years. But one thing that I've found is that my white blood cell count is low. So endothelial cells are active in the functionality of white blood cells, so that was interesting to me. I found that inflammation is something that I get a lot of. I took the Inside Tracker test. They take your blood, and they test it, and you get all of this data back pretty much. And there's the inflammation group, and in the inflammation group, I was at risk pretty much. And it was mainly due to the white blood cells, and also these things called neutrophils, which are a type of white blood cell. So I was reading the Wikipedia page, and it says endothelial cells have unique functions that include neutrophil recruitment. So I found that incredibly interesting. So I have issues with neutrophil and white blood cells being low, and that seems to be related to this. So as I was saying, the endothelium controls the passage of materials and the transit of white blood cells into and out of the bloodstream. So that's related. Excessive or prolonged increases in permeability of the endothelium, as in cases of chronic inflammation, may lead to tissue swelling, which is apparently called edema. And right now I'm dealing with an issue where it feels like my kidneys are swole up, and if it's not my kidneys, it's like the muscles near that area. So yeah, maybe I'm heading in the right direction with this. And then one other thing that kind of caught my eye that isn't really related to me, but I thought I should probably remember this, is that it says sorry. Where'd it go? Actually, I'm gonna keep zooming in. Okay, right here. It said one of the main mechanisms of endothelial dysfunction is the diminishing of nitric oxide, often due to high levels of asymmetric dimethylarginine, which interfere with the normal L-arginine stimulated nitric oxide synthesis, and so leads to hypertension. So basically, that's a lot. Wikipedia always makes things really complicated. What I get from that is that one of the main mechanisms of endothelial dysfunction is the diminishing of nitric oxide. So I should take a look for issues with nitric oxide. If it's diminishing, getting smaller, then that might be a sign for me. In addition to that, it says that it gives a reason for why nitric oxide could be diminishing, and it says that thing, diminishing nitric oxide, due to these, could interfere with normal nitric oxide synthesis. Ooh, I just clicked on that. Whoops. So nitric oxide synthesis. So basically, I just kind of have left myself a mental note, kind of learn what nitric oxide synthesis is. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I hope if you were here to learn about what endothelium is, endothelium cells, or endothelial, I'm still learning it myself. Endothelial cells, yes. I hope that you were able to solidify the concept in your mind. I know I have a bit more, even in just making this video. And yeah, so if it helped, feel free to like and subscribe, and see you next time.